Good morning, good morning. It's Free Motion Fridays. Sorry about that. My phone was turned, and I knew that would be a recipe for disaster, and it would just be so frustrating. So let me show you kind of what we got going on. So I've made just some space right here. This is 3 inches wide, and I have another space that's 4 inches wide in case we want to add in. I'm just going to start with this one really quick. This is the back-to-back template, and yes, we are going to be doing free motion, but we're going to create a framework for that free motion using this template. So the back-to-back template, you can see just right here, this is a half circle, right? It's a clamshell shape. And what you get with this template is you get 2 of them, one going up and one going down. And I have found this set of templates to be really, really valuable. I love it. So we're going to play with this. And let me click a few things. I got to try to get my comments up real fast. So how is everybody today? Had a good quilting week, a good week period. It's getting cold here. It was 48 degrees this morning. All right. We'll try to click on that. Otherwise, I can't see. I did get my glasses fixed, so things are better. I can see a little bit better. So real quick, I'll just show you how to sew this. On this side, this base is 3 inches, and this is 1.5 to the top. So when I sew this S curve here, it's going to be 3 inches apart from the top here to the bottom. And that's the space that we're going to use to create what we want to create. So let's go ahead and we'll sew it out, and that'll give us the little room for us to do what we want to do. What we're doing here is it'll fill up this whole channel. So right here and right here, we want a 1/4 inch. We want it to basically touch at the top here and have a 1/4 inch there. If I wanted to, I could put a line in the middle of the space if I needed a visual reference, because I could line this one up right in the center. We're just going to fudge it today. We don't need it to be too perfect. So I definitely want a little bit of room on the top and the bottom though. So right there and right there. And I'll just keep that as we go down. You could make this S curve yourself. If you just marked it off at squares, you could make, whatever the width of this, you could make squares. And then you could just make your curve, go halfway, and then go halfway. You could even create the center line, as we said, and that would give you a visual reference for where your curve is going to change. So I just think this is a nice, pretty shape. And it offers a lot of great flexibility for us to put some designs in and organize them. So I think a lot of times when I'm doing designs, I have this mindset of, when you were a kid and you're doing your coloring book or whatever, and you would color in all the dark lines and then you would fill in. I think of quilting like that in a lot of ways, because if it's just blank, I have trouble organizing my thoughts. So I like to put in some kind of reference shape that helps me to think about how is the design going to fit in, what's it going to look like, where's it going to go. And so this is something that is really great for that. I mean, it has a really strong movement, a really defined shape, and it's going to help us organize all of our designs. So I think we'll just do just a little bit more so we can get the full curve down here on the bottom, because that'll close this last shape. Right here, this will close that so we can fill in this one right here. Okay, good enough. We'll just stop. I'll actually go back to my straight line, because that's going to be part of our travel space on this line. All right. I'm just going to try to make it bigger so I can actually read the comments. Okay, here we go. Let's do some play. So the first one I'm going to share will be an onion top. And basically what we're going to do, let's get our chalk out. The onion top is where we're vaguely following this shape. And essentially this part, I guess this chalk didn't want to work this morning. Let's see if we can find a different one. Here we go. We got one. Ha! He was empty. He did not want to have a quilty day. This one's brand new. He's kind of sharp. It'll last probably like 5 seconds. I'm going to start from this and I'm going to arc up and vaguely follow this and just touch over here. And right from this position, I'm just going to vaguely echo back and kind of follow the curve. And it doesn't have to be perfect. It's variable. It doesn't matter if it's even or not. It's fine. You could even create a pattern. You could actually make some of them go a little closer, like make too close and then a space and then make too close, that type of thing. So this is what we're going for. And towards the bottom, you can even make this a little deeper as you come in if you want to kind of emphasize that. And getting us basically all the way over until we get essentially to that. This right here then, we can do some travel or we can come across to the side. We have to think about what we're doing. If we want this to mirror, we could, just stitch over a little bit and then this can become the mirror back like that. So we don't have to travel too far like that. So that could be our next shape right there. I'm going to just erase that a little bit because I know it's going to get really busy if we leave all those lines in there. So this is just that chalk, Boheen Easy chalk pencil. We'll just get this off so he won't bother us. Okay, so it comes off pretty easy and then we don't have a lot of distractions as we're working. Let me see if it might be a little better visually this way. Let's get in a little closer so I can see better. All right. I'm trying to see if I can get this camera to behave, but he's being very ornery right now. There we go. All right, let's tighten it up and then we'll start sewing. Okay, so hands are flat. I'm going to start the gas and let it stitch for just a second. It's okay if it, needs a minute to think about itself. And I can use my foot vaguely as a spacer and just make your curve smooth. That's really what I think is going to be the most important. It's just trying to make it a little bit smooth. It doesn't have to be really, really perfect or even. It just has to be smooth. If it kind of rectangles off a little bit, I don't think that looks that great. Oh, can you tell I'm not warmed up this morning? See how it's flatter here? When we do the next one, we'll make it a little more curvy there. Connect it back. And then you can just make a little vague hump there. Okay, so there you go. Love this thread. It's so pretty. And typically then what we can do is this other side could be going back the other way. So like this is where we started and then this is where we'll start and the next one will start there. We can also just go from there and do everything on this side and then go the other way. What I'm going to do is since this one kind of comes over, we're just going to move over a little bit so we can travel just slightly right here in the stitch line. And then we just go this way. So lots of different travel paths here. Nothing that's, has to be too perfect or anything like that. So this one, I'm just going to make it a little bit more curvier instead of flattening it out. It's a very subtle difference with this one. But what you're doing is you're going to sort of come back down a little bit. And it's going to change it more like a shell shape or like a snail. So come all the way over and you're going to give it a little bit more of that dip as you come over and a little bit more there. And then we'll just scoot over. Okay, so you can see this one's just a little bit flatter You know, this part, as we go down, we're flattening this out. And this one, we really intentionally accentuated the curve right there. And they look similar, you know, I realize that. But those are just little things that you can decide what you prefer, if you want more of that curve or you don't. That's totally up to you. All right, so I'm going to flip it so we can keep the visual. And at this point, I want to start right here, so I'm just going to fill this one, and I can come back and fill this one on the back side. So these would all connect at the top, and this would be another idea for how you can travel. So when I do this first one, I'm going to just curve up a little bit here, and I'm just going to put a little shape in there. So we'll just vaguely follow the line a little bit. I can follow it out a little bit. And now let's start filling with some feathers. So we got to get them down to the bottom here. So try to follow your arc around. We don't have to end at the same spot, but we can if we want to. And then here you kind of want to come back so you have enough room. Like I wouldn't want to start the next one right there. By traveling back, it's a little wider right here than it is right there. And then I'm on the end right here. So, you know, again, this is that travel. Either I can follow this curve all the way down to here, or I can start this side and I can start working there. So here we're going to put in one more, a little different something. And maybe just a little teardrop shape. So we'll follow this a little bit so we can get the shape in. And it can be like a mussel, or you can make a teardrop, or you can make a paisley. It's up to you. And we can change it. We can put more on the top so he kind of leans towards the top a little bit. It's up to us. As it starts filling now, we may end up just putting an arc in here. So we'll do that. I'll kind of show you. This one would go all the way basically out to here. He would probably touch. We would travel a little bit, and then you could fill it in on that side. Then we're on the bottom right here, and then we could put another one in. If you wanted to fill that, you could just do a little arc right there to fill it. And then you can just move in. Now, we don't have to be at any one spot. If we want to just fill this up, let me just kind of vaguely close this right here. Okay, it's the same shape basically. If we're just right here and we just want to fill this in, then we can just fill it in. We can do something really simple. We can just do a straight line, for example. And then we'll just come over and we'll just do a wiggly line. And then travel a little bit. You could use your foot as the spacer, and you can just do a straight line. Straight. And now we can travel over to this side. And same thing, we can do our little wiggly line. The lines don't have to be perfect. If you wanted your straight line to be perfect, you can have that. Just get your ruler out and you can make a straight line. But it's not required. I'm moving over about 1 foot space, give or take. And I don't care if it's exact or not. I don't really want to think about it too hard. So I like this one because this is very easy and it does not have to be perfect. And then I'd be right into my line and I'd just travel down the line and then that space is filled. Woo, can you see it? It's like party favors. This one I think would be even cool if we could put a spatial echo in here to separate the arc. So instead of doing maybe 3 inches, if we did 3.5, we could do a little 1/2 inch spacing between 2 different arcs. And that way we could do a little breathing space so that this wouldn't just blend right into the one on that side. You'd have a little gap in between. Okay, so I think we have one more space. What do you think? We should fill it in, right? We should do one more thing. Let me scoot these out of here and cut this. Well, I'll say hi to some people I see this morning. Good morning, Di Werner and Ruth Ann, Nan. I saw Linda Martindale was on as well. I kind of feel like you guys are my buddies. Now I want to come visit you. All right, so let's talk about travel real quick. Lots of people have trouble traveling over stitch lines. If we don't practice that, we're never going to get good at it. So anytime that you can, just practice. Think about a short distance visually. I just want to maybe connect the dots to here, and then I'll continue. So don't try to think about the entire quilt. Segment it visually in your brain, just small distances, and then you can travel. So that's really important. I think that, traveling on an existing stitch line is something that is going to make your quilting so much better because you're not going to be afraid to move from here to there, and you're not going to have to cut your threads as often. So very, very powerful, something that you can do. Okay, so let's just do one more crazy thing. This just creates a space. We don't have to actually use this space if we don't want to, but it is a shape that we can use. So we did these fun curves like this. So let's just make one more, and we'll just go a little bit. And after we go a little bit, let's put in some little circles. We'll put in about 3 of them. And when we get to the center, we'll just continue our design. And here, when we come back, we can just go bump, 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 and back. And so right here, we'll space this a little bit, and we won't do any bumps, but we'll do some little circles a little further out this time. And we'll just kind of hook up in there. And now we'll start our little circles right here. And maybe we'll make a baby. And we don't have to make the same number. We could make a different number. Ready? So bump, 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 and then we'll just follow the arc. And then this one looks like he could have one that could just fill by himself. So you can do any kind of crazy thing. I think that he needs another line up here. So let's go ahead and we'll put that in. We'll just travel along the back. And just like we did the bump, we'll kind of come in here and we'll do the bump on the top. Because I think that's too big of a gap. So just like that, we were able to travel and we filled in something that was maybe a gap that we didn't like. So lots of options. You can actually, these I think follow the shape really well, and I actually think the feathers can follow really well too. But you don't have to follow it. It can still just be a reference line just to segment the space, and because it's curvy like that, the eye will travel along, which is really powerful. That just lets you see that and gives you, some spacing, some visual arrangement for you to follow. So it breaks up that border and gives it a nice even flow to it. Again, with this, we're doing super high contrast thread. So if you're doing a thread that isn't high contrast, you're just gonna get texture in here. So that always is great too. You can do something that is, more charcoal or whatever, and you're gonna have just a lot of texture on the quilt. So if this isn't something that you really just want it to show, but you want, that quilty texture and that puff, then you can do that. All right, let's see if we have some questions. Oh, Di, I hope I get out to California too. My mom did call for my birthday, so that was good. I got to have a little dose of Cali. Okay, well, I don't see very many questions, you guys, so Let's see if we can scroll back just a little bit. 4 hours south, Linda Martindale. I'd love to come visit. I know, I'm going to try, but you know, COVID is not making it easy, but hopefully before next year, we'll start seeing maybe a lightening up, I hope. Roberta, I'm going to tell you the name of the ruler is the Westerly Back to Back. And let me grab a couple more of them. I have some other ones. Give me just a second. So the one that I have right now is the back-to-back, I don't know what number it is, back-to-back something. Oh, it's covered up. 3-1 right there. Can you see that? That's 3-1. Okay, so what that means, this is the only one of the number 3 that has a circular. A lot of the other sides are going to have different dimensions of the curve. Let me just put all of the 3 up here. I'll just put them up here so you can see the difference. So this is the one with the half circle, and then it's got a shallower curve. And then this is the 3-2, and this is from Fun and Fancy. It's in the Fun and Fancy set. And then this next one is 3-1. So in the back-to-back 3, there's 3 options. You can buy one of them or all of them, whatever you want, that you have options. But these all work together in the sense that the curve here is 3 inches across the base. So the curve here is 3 inches across the base. That's how they get their name. So if I stack these up, I could have a gentle curve, a deeper curve, and then a really deep curve, you know, and this is a circle. So this is the back-to-back 3 set, these 3 pieces. Just for comparison, this is the back-to-back 4-1, and it has a 4-inch circle. So essentially this, from the center here, if you sewed it, this is 2 inches to the top and 2 inches to the bottom. So from the top of this curve to the bottom of this curve is 4 inches. So you could easily do that in that 4-inch channel right there. This would hit the top and the bottom, and it would be 4 inches just like that. And it would be the same basic shape that we did. So if you had a bigger border and you wanted a bigger arc, then this would be an option where you could have a different size. And they have 1 inch, 1.5 inch, 2 inch, 3 inch, 4 inch, and actually I have a 6 inch, but even if you just had a circle, you could do the same thing. If you had a 6-inch circle, a 5-inch circle, it's half of a circle, then you would flip the circle and go the other way. So you could do it basically in any size. Any type of a circle or half circle could give you the same basic undulation with that S-curve. And then let me grab my stitching line disc real quick. I'll just show you what I mean by, if we put this on, I'll just stitch a little bit of it. We'll kind of get it right down there. There we go. And what I was suggesting is if your designs need separation, so we'll just do this part, then maybe you could just move it down like that, and it should be about 1/2 inch, and it should stack pretty well. And then we could make a curve like that, where you have a little gap in there. Oh, I should have shifted it over slightly, but that's what I mean. So like if you didn't want this piece to be touching this piece directly and you wanted some visual space, you can just create that, right? So then you wouldn't have them touching right on top of each other. And that would give your design a little room if your designs don't blend well together. So for example, I think these blend perfectly. They just flow. These two flow right into each other. But if I'm doing the feather, I think that would work too. I don't know that I would want these to blend, and I definitely think that if you just kept the lines going right there, then why put this in? Why put this undulation in there? I don't think it would have any value. You should just keep going. So if I was going to do this type of a style, I would want that echo in there to separate those two. So those will be just things that you can think about as you're planning your designs and deciding what looks good, what doesn't. A lot of times I like some breathing space between the design elements, but I don't think this needs to. I think this would make a good continuous flow. And even if the feathers alternated on different sides, where you started one here and then you started one on the other side, I think that would flow really well between those. Alrighty, you guys, that's it. That's it for today. I didn't have a long class, but hope you had fun and have a great day. I will tell you that I'm going to be out of town for a few Sundays. This Sunday, I will be at Balloon Fiesta. We're leaving at 3 in the morning, so I will not be ready at 3 in the afternoon for my Facebook Live. And then I'll be traveling on whatever the weekend of the 20-something, 10, 17, and 24th. On the 24th, I will be traveling, so I will not be available too. So I'll post the schedule on Fabricated Quilts. If you want to check in and see what class dates are, I'll post them like for the next 2 weeks, and that way you'll know if we're going to be available or not. So that includes some Free Motion Fridays that I'll be out as well. So have a great day and happy quilting. Enjoy our last bit of fall and sunshine. Make sure you soak it up if you can before it starts getting cold. All right. I love it. Bye, guys.